called a Comburgus video, which is a close-up of a craft, so close that you can see the occupants. It is 100% real, and I was there as that was filmed.
The whole footage has been analyzed for a more scientific board for 2.5 weeks, frame by frame, pixel by pixel, and this is 100% genuine footage.
Okay, that's the footage.
Good morning.
Good evening. How are things in Canada?
Oh, our president bailed on us. It's not president. Minister.
Yeah, Trudeau is gone, right?
Trudeau is gone. Gone in the sense he resigned he will resign when they find a new leader.
Yeah, because
so he's still in power, but he resigned technically. Yeah.
So you're leaderless at the moment.
Well, yeah, we were leaderless from last 6 years or something.
So are you gonna miss the guy?
Well, to be honest, I don't see any good leader in the future, so I will just go with the flow.
So what will happen? Will now be conservative, or will it still be liberal? Or how does
your mic? I can't hear you properly.
Oh, is it working now? Wait. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's so low. Maybe I don't know. Anyway.
But is it going to be liberal or conservative?
Well, we have to wait for the election. The chances are higher for conservative right now, but I don't know. We'll see. Everybody's disappointed at liberals right now, so we will see who is going to be the next one. But I don't like any of them. We have like a good normal Canadian. There is always like someone who is being influenced by the foreign entity, so we'll see who is going to be. I'm not going to vote anyway because it's useless, waste of time.
And soon, Canada will be another state of America, right?
Oh yeah, that'll be hilarious, but it's never happening. Never. Canada is like a big country. US cannot afford to buy us. The only way, also, people won't vote for it. Like, as a Canadian, they should have like a referendum or something, right? Because people's voice matter. Nobody gonna vote unless they offer $1 million to everyone. Then we will.
Well, they have Elon Musk, right? So who knows? Maybe.
No, Elon Musk does not have that kind of money to pay everyone $1 million in Canada.
I hope not. But did you see the speech of Trump on Canada? I was kind of blown away by his.
But the thing with Trump is, don't take anything seriously because he's Trump. He's always fucking around, so I don't personally care.
Yeah, that's like his initial bargain chip.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about Project Bluebeam. We already did 2 episodes. I'm not gonna repeat what Project Bluebeam is in its complexity in its entirety because we already covered that in the last 2 episodes. But we're gonna talk about Stephen Greer because Stephen Greer did some interesting interviews and also revealed some stuff that's might be upcoming. Hence the name in the title. We're also going to talk a little bit about psyops, about suppression of information, and of course how it all relates to Project Bluebeam. But I think before we jump in, I have this really nice clip by somebody you might very well know. His name is Terence McKenna, and I found it very interesting, this bit.
It's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation. The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse. And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time. This is what it's like when a species prepares to move on to the next dimension.
I was kind of blown away by that one too. I am familiar with Terence McKenna, but
I am a big fan of.
Did you know about this one? This one's from 25 years ago.
I know about this one, but the point is, like, he is saying even way more weirder stuff than that, right? So, which is weird for people who are not into mushrooms, but those who are, that's very normal, very tame version of what he's saying. So that's one of those things. But yeah, I know about that. But I don't know what he actually mean by it, but not even him. What mushrooms meant by what they told him. That's also one thing, because mushrooms don't talk in normal ways. They just write like a poetry or something. So don't always go in the words which are obvious. There is always a hidden meaning behind it.
Yeah, and that's sort of like a visionary language, like an oracle. He basically is an oracle, right? He's speaking as an oracle. But if this was sort of like a prediction that he did, it was highly accurate and not easy to make 25 years ago.
Yeah, but one thing I will say, we don't need to have chaos while we are going to space. We could
We
do
have
it. We have it, but not for that reason. We have it for totally stupid reasons.
Well, I don't know about that, Sid. I mean, I think we actually have this chaos because of the sort of the birth pangs of this new, time that we enter. And with AI is exploding. You got this geopolitical friction that has to do with what I think is the Fermi paradox, right? That you have to sort of navigate this new technology, but you also have like the UAP things that tie into all this. We have talked about that also many times on this podcast. So and all of that, of course, is like huge disruption, right? I mean, technology in itself is disruptive, but if the singularity is basically true, and you go to a situation where technology is more determining than the human factor, and that you can sort of not look beyond that moment in time because it's completely different, and the forecasts of the past don't help you to forecast the future anymore.
Yeah,
that in itself is like one gigantic, never encountered before disruption.
yeah. But also with technology, there are like different layers of technology, right? There are like highly advanced craft we can make that is different from highly advanced artificial intelligence which we are making. Because I don't like the idea of artificial intelligence. That's very useful right now, but eventually it's gonna end humanity. That's my conclusion on that. No matter what we do, it's gonna end the humanity.
Okay, so talking about UAPs and strange craft, right? Because one of the things that triggered us to do the Project Bluebeam thing was, of course, the New Jersey UFO flap. That's still happening, right? I think it's
still happening. It's happening all over the world.
Yeah,
the problem right now is happening. Everybody's focused on New Jersey, and they are discarding every other sighting all over the world. So it is UFO sighting all over the world. Yeah, the concentration of drones are in New Jersey. They are just drones. So I think two things are happening.
Yeah.
One is the drones, and other is the UFOs. By the way, I see drones, military grade SUV sized drones every day. I don't even post them because I know they are drones. I could literally see them. They are flying so low, like they are just above the buildings. I live near the buildings. I will send you some videos as well. Also, you can easily see them. They do not have FAA lighting. FAA standard. So they have a very different type of lighting, so that that's not a regular plate, that's something else. But yeah, I see them almost every other day, and not just one. I see them two or three. the
But
the reason I don't record them is just a drone, right? What I'm gonna achieve if it's a UFO, like the two videos I shared with you, two different nights, the green one, that was not a drone, that was something out of this world, as per
yeah,
my.
okay. Let's go to some of these incredible sightings.
Let's go. Yeah.
So this one, I love this one. I'm absolutely no idea if it's real, but it looks real.
Like this one is not a drone at all.
Fuck out of here.
It's insane, right? And I mean,
The problem with these videos, I'll tell you one thing. They are too short to be a real video. Because, like, for example, if I will put myself in that person's shoes, if I see a video like that, I won't record like a 6-second video. It's a 10-second video. I will record like as long as I can, because this is not normal. Secondly, in this area, if something that bright is out, a lot of people should come out and see what's going on, because they can see it from their windows.
mhm.
So the problem here is, like, this video looks real, but it could be AI, because
Yeah,
AI is really good at faking stuff.
true. You could argue, because that seems to happen a lot with real UAPs, that technical devices and mobile phones and cameras stop sort of the moment that they are seen.
No,
So
because
that
he's still recording, right? And he's we have a video, so it didn't stop, right? And
yeah,
then
but
he
it could have
grabbed.
stopped, sort of immediately after filming, right? So anyway, but I accept your point. But I think I also wanted to make a bigger point here, because let's say this is real. I'm not saying it is, but let's say it would be real. Even if it was 100% real, and you and me would see it, and the audience would see it, we wouldn't believe it, right? Because it
Yeah,
looks too
yeah.
good.
No, if I see it, when you say you see it, you mean on internet or in real life?
Look, in real life, it's a different thing, of course. But then,
Yeah.
even if you would, okay, let's say you and me, we're outside, we're filming this, we're seeing it, we're posting it, and then nobody would believe a single word that we said.
Yeah. Also, there could be one thing. Can you play this video again for a second?
Okay, yeah, here we go.
That's some scary shit. Get the fuck out
You
of
know what it could be, because foggy out here, right?
Yeah,
It could be a tower or something.
true.
Because
Yeah, that's
what
something that
happened,
also.
I told you that we were having so much fog attack here in Vancouver. Like, it was really foggy. So in the fog, a lot of buildings were looking like that.
Yeah,
That I thought they were UFO, but when I went close to them, like literally I drove towards that, and then I figured out it was a building, but because of the fog and the cloud, it was looking like that. So that could be another reason.
I definitely think this could be a building.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it was also a thought that crossed my mind. Let's
Yeah.
take another one. I also like this one. I think this one is more genuine. Let's go. Is it this one?
What the fuck? I don't think this is genuine at all. This
Yeah,
is too awesome. I'm just saying, this is too awesome to be real.
perhaps. But anyway, it will sort of tie into our discussion also in plasmoids.
Yeah.
But the problem here is you have absolutely no idea in how to sort of vet these videos. I mean, there's stuff flying out there. There's reports of plasma balls that
Yeah.
we showed some in our previous video.
Even
I
astronauts
tend
are
to
talking about
agree with you that it is kind of almost too awesome to be real. But who knows? I
No,
know.
one more thing. Did you notice that this is also 9 second?
Yeah.
The previous video was like 11 seconds. There's like a range of AI as well. AI shoot in that range. Like all the AI videos you see, which are which you know for sure that they are AI, they are also like 8 to 12 seconds. But I'm
Mm,
not saying that, I'm not debunking it. I'm just saying
that's a good
there
point.
is a possibility. But this is too awesome. One reason I'm saying that, because I was recording a lot of things from my phone. I have an iPhone 14 Pro.
Hmm.
The quality sucks when you zoom in. You don't get this kind of quality. That's the only problem
So,
I'm facing. So
so
that could be like, because when you go close, you don't get like a clear picture. You get like a worst zoom in ever.
so which one did you say was your favorite, or one of the ones that you?
I don't remember, but there were some other which I cannot definitely debunk. But by the way, I'm not saying this is not real. I'm
No, no,
just saying
no,
there
no.
are some other questions. There are some questions which can be raised for this video.
I agree, and I think they're good points. I mean, then you would probably also discard this one. This is wait, let's see. Uh, yeah, okay, this one.
No, I'm not discarding this one. This one is real. I know this one. This is real.
So this apparently is some kind of object that escaped the fires, the terrible fires that hit
Oh yeah.
LA, which we could also do a whole episode on, because there's a lot of fishy stuff with
Fire
that.
is still going on right now, so I think in the next one we will know for sure. But there is a lot of fishy. That's not natural fire. Everybody knows that. Somebody is setting those fires for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and then probably with this laser technology that we have developed is a
Yeah,
possibility.
that is a possibility. But I think people were arrested for like for arson. So we know that there are like 8 or 10 arrests I saw, which were all of them were immigrants, but illegal immigrants. They look that's what they are saying. I don't know like their status, but they were arrested for lighting up the fire.
Yeah, I saw some videos of people throwing gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
But I don't really know if if you have a fire that big, does a little bit of gas
No,
make a
there are two things. So if you set a fire in that area in this season, I think it get really dry,
difference?
and then is a wind, a specific wind. If
Hmm.
it goes the other way, then what happened? Like that, those fire will throw the fiery sprouts from the tree, which light another thing and another thing, and then the light goes, oh, the fire goes on. So
Yeah,
this is,
no, yeah. I mean, I agree, and it can start really small with even a cigarette. But the point is, if a fire like that is already blazing, does it really matter if you throw gasoline on it? I mean, it's like a terrible thing
yeah.
to do, but does it make any
No,
difference?
they are not throwing gasoline. They are starting it. So that's the story which I was reading, that there were people who were starting the fire,
Mm.
and then it catches the wind, and then
Okay.
it starts everywhere.
Okay.
After it's already there, nobody have to do anything, because nature will do it. So nature will take its own course. So, but that's one thing. And about the lasers, if lasers, they're gonna throw the lasers, they are not gonna fire the laser at the rich area. They're gonna do it at the poor area, because that's like the richest area of uh uh of US, right? All the Hollywood actors live there and everything. They are a part of Illuminati, so why will they destroy their own homes? They probably will do it to the poor people's.
Yeah, but on the other hand, right, if you don't need them anymore, or if you need that area for something else, or you wouldn't want it to be too obvious, right?
Yeah, no,
That's
there is a
always also good
possibility,
here.
but I'm just saying, if we go with the simplest explanation,
Mhm.
that's one of but there could be more nefarious thing, which we will know in the future, like what happened after these events.
Mhm.
But
True.
for now, I will just go less conspiracy. Like, I
Yeah.
won't go in the conspiracies right now in this one, because we'll wait. Because also a lot of people lost a lot of the things. I feel sorry for them, so I don't wanna be asshole right now. To
No,
throw.
no, no. Yeah, no, definitely. Right, and
But in the future, like after a few weeks, when everything is set, and then we'll see what happens after. Then
yeah,
we will know what's their actual plan.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for all the people who have been hit by this, it's like a horrible. I mean, I can't even imagine how horrible that must be. So it's not slighting their.
But at the same time, they were rich people, so they could rebuild
Still.
easily. Just imagine if they were poor, who
Yeah,
have nothing but their homes, they
yeah,
would be in such devastation right now that they can't do anything. By the way, that I'm not saying that it's good for rich people, but I'm just saying, in terms of class, they can rebuild easily compared to a poor
yeah.
person like
Unless, of
me.
course, lives are lost. You can't replace that.
Also, we don't even know how many lives are lost right now, right?
Technology.
Because they can't even know like who's burned out. I think I saw a video from a news channel. They were just showing the wreckage, and then a, they showed some bones. I saw some bones in that footage. I was like, wow. It was like a burned house. They were showing the burned house, and then there were some bones there. So we don't know what are the actual
Well,
number
it
of
was
lives.
a large area, right? So,
Yeah,
logically speaking, they must have hit some people. Uh,
yeah.
so,
And a lot of like homeless people, they go in that area too. So
yeah, true.
so those people probably don't even know what to do at that time, and they got burned. So nobody knows.
Okay, so we sort of covered the UAPs a little bit. It's still ongoing. Actually, I sort of uh,
If you have more footage, let's go through with those footage. That'll be awesome.
no. I sort of lost the track of that a little bit. I just took these two or three, I should say, and the last one could be genuine or not. We don't know, of course.
Yeah.
But it's also about Stephen Greer. So let's dive into Stephen Greer
Yeah,
because
let's go for it. That's like the big news.
yeah. So that's this revelation right here.
The information they're going to give me as they come forward, because they've gone to ground now, they're only communicating with me. I'm going to hand off to every celebrity and every media outlet and every influencer I know. And I need you guys to do the same thing. And it'll be open source. It'll be on a site that is blockchain protected, that's now stood up. And it's got to be seen by several billion people within a few days. So that means it's got to go wide. We're not talking about ufology and a handful of UFO nuts knowing about this. And the reason for it is that this summer he came to my place in Washington and he says, we don't want to risk our lives and our families' lives. And the main guy has 3 children, 2 of them are still fairly young. And he doesn't want to have his whole family killed for no good reason. In other words, where this gets released and it's a tree that fell in the woods nobody heard. So I said, let me put together this asymmetric disclosure where regardless of what the bureaucrats in Washington do, or London, or anywhere else, it's seen by a large number of people. It's like what I've always said, you squeeze the toothpaste so hard out of the tube, it cannot be put back in. But listen, everyone listening, if you're an influencer, if you've got a YouTube channel, Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah, so basically what he's telling everybody to do, if it gets released, to spread it as far and wide as possible.
If it gets released, we will do a flash show right away. We don't even wait for Sunday. We'll do it right away. If it released, because he's saying that for a while now.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. Like, just release it. You have everything, everybody's ready, then people will lose interest. I think in December he said it's going to be released in the first week of January, but it's already the second week.
Mm-hmm.
So now
but I can also understand it, right? Because it's not his information that it's not that he can release it. It is the group that he's working with, and and from their perspective, if there are real people sitting on this kind of information.
I know that, but they have already planned to release it, and I think this is the perfect time to do it because of the whole Sean Ryan case that happened.
Well, that's what we're gonna jump into.
Yeah, we gotta jump in there. That's why I was like, that's a good segue. Also, I read yesterday that Livelsberg story is also connected to his source. So his name was Matt Livelsberg or whatever. Anyway, that guy is also connected to his source. So I think this is the ideal time to release it. You don't want to wait too much that everybody lose interest.
No, I agree with that. Of course, the Cybertruck bomber Matt Livelsburger, yeah. So I totally agree with you. But if you are sitting on this kind of information, and if your family and your kids are at risk, people supposedly are getting killed because of this, I can also understand that you want to make it absolutely sure that it gets everywhere, and then you
Yeah.
might still be unsure if you actually want to do it. If you actually want to pull the trigger when the time comes, right? You
Yeah.
might get cold feet. I mean, I can totally understand to relate to something like that.
Yeah. Also, my thing is like, if you give it too much time, then the masters, the people, they might find a way to stop the disclosure. So you don't want to wait. You just want to disclose. That's why I'm just like saying that do it now, otherwise it won't come.
Okay, so what was going on with the Cybertruck situation? We're gonna listen to that now. This is a really nice summary.
So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, "In case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones," he puts that in quotes. He says drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. But basically, what he's telling is that there's anti-gravity or zero-point energy craft UAPs. Some of them are probably then, if true, seen over New Jersey and other places and military installations, as has been reported by the military. Yeah. Also in the UK and other. But like you also mentioned at the start of this discussion, these UAP vehicles are also seen in Russia, in China, in India, in Indonesia, and wherever, Canada. So that is sort of that's interesting because it kind of sort of runs counter to this whole story. But the FBI did confirm that this is a real email that was sent out.
Email was real, yeah.
So it's not like it was made up or fake or whatever.
First of all, I want to say that to the debunkers, they attacked Sean Ryan and the other guy who released this thing, that they attacked them that they faked it. Like, really, you think Sean Ryan will fake an email like that? He won't verify anything. And their dumbest argument was that there were lines underneath the text, which you see it when you're writing it, but literally, I think people like them already knows that. So the reason there were lines, because they copied it to the text, like whatever they have text editor notes, to redact the name. That's why it was like, because they were redacting the name of the people who were mentioned in the email.
And
so
for
it was
the people,
really dumb argument to attack these guys. And what I noticed, like the moment they came out, the attack from like known CIA people, that they work for establishment, they attacked him for absolutely nothing, to discredit him. Like, I know that, okay, this story is real. At that time when I saw the people attacking him, this is one of those things like that. So what we need to do is like just realize
calm.
how the psyop is working, who is
Yeah.
telling the truth and who is not. We have to be very careful because in the future there will be a lot of psyops.
True, and also the repercussions and the consequences of getting this wrong will be humongous, right? So we
Yeah.
really need to treat carefully and stay alert for all parties who might be lying, right? And there are many people who are lying or partly lying or not telling the truth or not the whole truth, or tweaking the story, twisting it into their favor. But for the people who are doubting if it's real, I got this.
On any of that.
That podcast email is him.
Yeah, so we have confirmed that the document that he sent to the podcast, we know that he was the one.
So, okay, so that is established fact. It's real.
Yeah.
And then, for the people who might have a hard time believing that America or China or others, because I don't actually believe that's just America and China, but, have these kind of technologies or are capable of these sort of mind-bending things. I got this clip over here, which sort of goes into what is being held back by by the American government, I should say.
May, where we talked to them about this, and the meetings were absolutely horrifying, and we came out basically deciding we had to endorse Trump.
What did you hear in those meetings?
AI is a technology basically that the government is going to completely control. This is not going to be a startup thing. They actually said flat out to us, don't do AI startups. Like don't fund AI startups. It's not something that we're going to allow to happen. They're not going to be allowed to exist. There's no point. They basically said AI is going to be a game of 2 or 3 big companies working closely with the government, and we're going to basically wrap them in a, I'm paraphrasing, but we're going to basically wrap them in a government cocoon. We're going to protect them from competition. We're going to control them, and we're going to dictate what they do. And then I said, I don't understand how you're going to lock this down so much, because like the math for AI is like out there and it's being taught everywhere. And they literally said, well, during the Cold War we classified entire areas of physics and took them out of the research community, and like entire branches of physics basically went dark and didn't proceed. And that if we decide we need to, we're going to do the same thing to the math underneath AI.
Wow.
And I said, I've just learned 2 very important things, because I wasn't aware of the former, and I wasn't aware that you were, even conceiving of doing it to the latter.
Yeah. So basically, they might have already anti-gravity technology, free energy technology.
Yeah,
but
we are focusing on that thing, but the important thing in that whole video was like how government gonna control AI. And technically it's not even 2 or 3 companies, it's going to be one, which is going to be Elon Musk's, because he's building the real dangerous AI. Other companies, they are not that dangerous, I'm not afraid of, because they're not building robots, they're not building bodies for this AI. Elon is building robots, and that's like, I think that's the end, that's the Skynet.
Well, I think not only Elon is building robots. I've seen many different companies build robots. But I understand your point. Elon brings it all together, all the different facets he brings into one umbrella company, right? Because he's specialized in so many different areas that they all sort of converge. Which I also wanted to say earlier when we were talking about technology, because you said there's many different technologies and they work differently and operate in different arenas. But of course, all these technologies historically are converging at some point, right? And they are sort of reinforcing each other and eventually leading up to something like a singularity.
Yeah, but what's gonna happen? Elon will crush everything else, every other competition, because
he's doing a great job so far.
He is, and that's why I'm not worried about other AI. They, first of all, they won't have government support, because next 4 years Elon is going to be the king. He have total control over Trump, and he only need 4 years to do his thing, whatever he gonna say, because I can't accuse him, but if I am gonna speculate, this is what I'm gonna say, that he will launch 1 billion robots, which is going to be his army, and he going to take over the world, and he will keep everyone else, like peasants like us, fighting with each other based on race, based on immigration, based on whatever. He will keep us busy. What he's doing on Twitter right now, he's flaming the fire So everybody is fighting each other. Meanwhile, he's building the biggest army of robots, and nobody is even thinking about that. And that's how he's gonna take over the world. He will become the king.
Well, that's an interesting idea, and I'm not disputing it. What
No,
do
no,
you?
feel free. But this is just a speculation, right? It's not even a conspiracy. It's just a speculation. But this is what somehow I'm giving. You know, I'm not even thinking of it. I'm just getting these images in my head
Mhm.
that's how it's got to happen, and this is happening for a while. Like I did a whole piece about that back in the day, like last year before we had iRobot and stuff, like
Mhm.
whole robot launch. Maybe I'll see it if I can send it to you. These were the images I'm getting in my head, even in my dreams and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm a psychic or anything, but I'm just saying I'm just in that place right now where I'm thinking eventually those robots, I'm not saying even Elon gonna do it, but I'm just saying that AI gonna do something crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that we're being distracted and bribed, and all that kind of stuff has been happening for a very long time. I mean, it's of course also speculation, but the stuff that Zuckerberg revealed in this interview about censorship, about sort of things that are actually happening and that we are not allowed to know about, and how basically people are being what you call it, well, so, let's say divide and conquer strategies that are using to use, because if you have one group of people who aren't allowed to say something which is actually true, then you automatically create two camps, right?
Yeah, but this is the thing. He's not taking away anyone's speech. He's fueling the fire because he's not like removing them uh, from the scenario. He's just suppressing it for a while and then bring them back, and they come hot against the other group, and he's fueling the fire. I just sent you a photo if you want to open that. What I'm just saying that this is
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, yeah. I'm getting these kind of images in my head. I will
Okay.
just show it to the people too.
So do you also think because he had a Cybertruck, does it relate to anything?
Cybertruck is because yeah. So this is the image. These type of image I'm saying, like humans are fighting, and eventually AI gonna kill everything. Everything will be burned down, and then I don't know what's gonna happen after that. Anyway, regarding Cybertruck, do not take any. I'm not gonna say that don't buy it. I'm just saying be careful because they are fully autonomous, and eventually they are going to be fully autonomous, and then they are fully controlled. They can
Yeah,
close your engine or brakes or anything whenever they want. So just be careful.
they're sort of riding prison systems, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that before too. But do you think because the guy, he had a Cybertruck, so was he sort of, did he like Elon, or did he want to make a statement with that truck? Or
Oh, with that Cybertruck. Sorry, I
yeah.
thought you're talking about just no. So what I think he was trying to get maximum attention to his story. So people in when you talk about cars,
Because of the
Cybertruck
Ford
is
Trump
the
Tower, right? That it exploded.
yeah, this is what I'm saying. So when you talk about the car, Cybertruck is the most spoken thing in the world in terms of car. In terms of location, no location is better than Trump Tower because it's not very secure, but it's still the tower of the president.
Yeah.
So you can easily go and park there, and then you get all the news. So Cybertruck exploding outside Trump Tower, which also showing that Elon and Trump, he's trying to send a message to Elon and Trump, both of them, and
Mhm.
that will create so much story out of it. Because originally everybody thought it, not everybody. I thought when I heard the news that this is what I read. The Cybertruck caught a fire outside Trump Tower, and then it was the next headline was like it was explosion in the Cybertruck.
Mhm.
So the more the story was growing, everybody was paying more attention. The same day, a big terrorist attack happened somewhere,
Mhm.
but nobody is more concerned about the actual terrorist attack. Everybody's talking about this because he picked the right attributes to gain the attention, and that's what happened. But the other thing was there were three things happened that day. All three were done by military people. All of them went to the same base, Fort Bragg or something. But I know that that's like a big base, so everybody goes there. So like there are like 100,000 people go there, or whatever the number is. It's like a big base, so that is also a coincidence. But two things happening at the same day from the people from the same place is a bit sketchy. But yeah, they are not related because this guy met Livelsberger. His name is hard. Anyway, this guy is not a terrorist. He didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to give a message. The only thing is
amplify his message.
Yeah,
and maybe also address it to Trump and Elon.
Because if he have done it somewhere else, then Trump or Elon or nobody would have paid attention, because it wasn't a big thing. The only big thing about this event is like it was Tesla outside Trump Tower. If it happened in some street or even in the busy street, nobody would have paid any attention.
Yeah, and basically he was also a specialist in drone technology. We're gonna listen to a little bit more about it because it's interesting. That's just interesting. So, and it also ties into the Bluebeam thing. So here we go.
Seemed like people were really just attacking Sean Ryan for what was actually a very interesting piece of journalism. And I'll tell you why I found this to be an interesting piece of journalism. You guys might recall that I had on Ashton Forbes. And if you haven't watched an episode, that you should, like what happened to MH370, that plane that disappeared. And one of the things that he spoke about, and I was not educated about this whatsoever, was he was essentially saying that the government was hiding technology. The exact same thing that is in this email that he alleges was sent to him from Matt Livelsberger. And essentially what Ashton Forbes was saying is that there is there is 0-point gravity that exists, that they are able to manipulate gravity. And specifically, Ashton Forbes was saying that it was this war between China and the United States, that that our government has had this technology and has been hiding it from the public from a very long time. And so now you have an entirely unrelated situation that has nothing to do with MH370, nothing to do with Ashton Forbes, and this person is emailing to allege the same thing. I think that we should look further into that. I don't think this should just be routinely dismissed. I don't think there would be any reason for Sean Ryan to engage in fraud on the public. He's at the top of his game, the top of his podcasting game, and from every angle that he and his producers looked into this email appeared to be legit. And so I'm not going to trust a bunch of people in the intelligence community.
No, me neither.
Yeah, no one will.
But this is, I think, this from Owens. What's her? Candice Owens, right?
Candice Owens, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good, actually. I haven't seen her in quite a while, but
no, I really like her. She has so many phases, right? And I understand people start when they are even we all were stupid, but then we learn, we read, we grow, and that's what I noticed with her. She is much better person now, and she's independent. That's what I really like about people, that when they're independent, they are not following the party line. I just don't trust the people who say what their party is saying.
Yeah, so just like we are sort of, just going through all this information, trying to make our minds up based on what other people are saying. So, I want to go a little bit more down the rabbit hole from Ashton Forbes. First of all, I think the man is a hero and he should get a medal for everything he has done. I would also like to point out that, he's grown very big on X.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, because I've been talking to people, and of course, some people are still banned or shadow banned. Us included. I think you probably too.
Yeah.
So X. I like X. I like Elon, but we should also not kid ourselves. I mean, all the things that you just said about playing people against each other, and that even though Zuckerberg said the right things and pointed out the obvious, the whole conclusion we should draw from all of this is that we should get away from centralized media or social media and go decentralized as fast as possible if we can, because they will just do the same thing, only the shoe will be on the other foot this time.
Yeah. Also, did you see that social credit ranking he introduced?
Well, that's shadow banning. Right? Shadow banning is social credit system in effect.
But did you check your ratings?
I haven't checked my ratings.
Mine is 38, so that's like the lowest one you get. Which
Okay.
shows, yeah.
How can you see that?
So go in the Grok
Yeah.
and ask like, what's my social rating or my Twitter X rating?
Okay. Grok, what's my X rating? I've just been banned. No, just kidding.
They removed it. Okay. So it was public. Now, like a lot of people actually question. So I just tested now. So they removed the rating. It's just saying your public profile does not have a rating. But I know that I actually shared I don't know, when I tested it, it was good to post it. I posted it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, actually, I do know. We had Graham de Penrose on a few times, and he's like an AI technology specialist. I think he's number 14th in the world or something.
Yeah.
But he sort of explained to me. I already forgot how it worked, but you can sort of find out how you are shadow banned, and there's sort of different levels of shadow banning, and you can sort of find out by looking under the hood how bad it is. I actually implored him to write about it. He says there are some articles on it, and he wanted to send me one or two, but I kind of sort of lost touch with him a little bit. But I think John Williams, who does what's it called, Shadow. He does the Shadow CPI. I forgot no. Anyway, he did sort of, he compared the real CPI, how they used to do it like 50 years ago, and compared it to the weighted hedonistic basket of goods that they use now and constantly adjust. And then by comparing the two, you see the difference in how we are lied to and how they sort of manipulate the CPI. But I sort of implored Graham to do the same thing with how your score would have been like not 50 years ago, but let's say 10 years ago on social media platforms, and compare it to your score now using sort of the same metrics, and see the difference with the manipulation. But anyway,
yeah, actually, while we're at that, I sent you the screenshot I sent. I tested, so they actually removed that. Now I can't check it because they realize a lot of heat was on Elon, so they removed that feature. But at that time, it was there, and all the people who were telling the truth, they had like 38 out of 100. All the tame profile who were like saying, Elon, you are the best, Elon, like Elon's party people, they have over 75 rate.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I like Elon, and he did a lot of good things, but we shouldn't kid ourselves. He has his own agenda, and he's building his own empire, and he's in the position now to create that empire. And hopefully you're wrong about the robot army, but
I'm not wrong, man. I'm telling you.
So, but what I actually wanted to point out, Ashton Forbes has grown really big on X. And Ashton Forbes is very controversial. He has been called many things by many different people. But, basically that he's lying, charlatan, faking, blah, blah, blah. But obviously he's not. But the point is, he has not been banned on X. Actually, I think he has been amplified on X. So that's interesting in itself, right?
Yeah, actually, this is interesting because what Ashton Forbes is doing is not a threat to the deep state, even though he's revealing a lot of the things. But Elon Musk is, so this is what I'm saying. Elon Musk is not banning people. When I give you my previous analysis on that, he want to amplify people fighting each other. He don't want to remove the voice, because if he removes it, then there is only one group, and then other people who are removed, they are looking at other things because they cannot talk on that subjects. He want to keep us busy in these bullshit, so we keep fighting. So he actually, if you notice on Ashton Forbes, he's fighting Jeremy Corbell. By the way, I like both of them. So I'm not going to say one side or another. I like Ashton Forbes too. And I think, but what happened, like, whatever the reason, they start fighting. Now the whole groups of Jeremy Corbell fan and Ashton Forbes fan, they are fighting each other. They don't trust each other. There is kind of a chaos. Everybody is busy in this shit while Elon is doing its nefarious stuff.
Well, I think that's one thesis. I think another one would be that one of the things that Ashton Forbes is really focusing on is the technology. And that's sort of my thesis, which I also explained, is like I think some groups have been sort of left out this exotic material. This in Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop, and what is it? The third one, Raytheon.
Northrop Grumman. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I can't even.
Yeah,
My brain is not braining right now.
I always say the first one only because otherwise I mess up the name. But that means that a lot of other companies have been left out, right? Maybe Thiel's Palantir, maybe Elon Musk's X, or Tesla and all those other groups. I think they're sort of pushing this. They're pushing this because they want to get their hands on a piece of that technology. They want to get it out in the open because they want to claim what's theirs, right? And they want to start these lawsuits. And I think that's one of the reasons that Ashton is allowed to do what he does. Plus, we also have to be, if this, like I said before, if this technology is really real and everything points towards it, then at some point you also want to implement and use it and to customize people to the reality of all of this. And I want to play at least 3 more clips of Ashton. And like you said, I'm not against Jeremy Corbell. I do really like Ashton Forbes, and I think he's more of a hero than Jeremy is. But I do regret that they're fighting each other.
Yeah. It is sad. To be honest, I thought they will be working together, but well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I understand Ashton Forbes' point too, because Jeremy attacked him for no reason.
Yeah, and also I think Ashton is right that these people are focusing too much on the alien aspect and that they're sort of losing track of the technology aspect and the fact that it has been suppressed. And I also agree with Ashton that Ashton is way more like an individual doing his own research and his own thinking. And Jeremy and Knapp and that whole group is depending way too much on intelligence sources.
Yeah.
And these intelligence sources clearly have an agenda, right? I mean, they're not telling us the whole story. They're telling their story.
Also, what causes the main difference was, I think one of Ashton's friends showed that video of MS-360 to Joe Rogan. So, and then Joe Rogan sent it to Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy Corbell said this is a fake video. That caused the whole drama.
Yeah, and then I think Jeremy said that because probably one of his sources dismissed it as fake news or as disinformation, and I think that's sort of like you said, it said bad blood. Yeah. But I think also Jeremy and Knapp and their friends should really look again at their sources and also in how far they can really trust what's being told to them. Sorry. Let's listen to this one.
Holy shit. When did Hal Puthoff know that 0 Point Energy was real? Oh my God. Oh my God. He knew way before 1987. Okay, full screen. Okay, guys, if you are not up to speed right now, here, let me help you out. The first paper Hal Puthoff wrote on 0 Point Energy was 1987, hydrogen, ground state of the hydrogen atom. He assumed the hydrogen atom must be extracting energy from the 0 point source. That's how it stays stable at rest. So that would be the first publicly available scientific paper where someone could tie him back to that idea. But Ken Shoulders said that he discovered the ether was real in 1980. 1980, 7 years before that. And he was partners with Hal Puthoff. So what if Hal Puthoff knew before 1987? How far before 1987 did Hal Puthoff know 0 Point Energy was real? And what was the event that led him to realize that 0 Point Energy was real? That's what they edited out. Whatever his answer was there's something tied to that. Maybe he saw a flying saucer or whatever, a UFO. Whatever date he gave that they just edited it out was probably the answer in terms of when he was first brought in on the UFO thing. Wow, that's wild. I can't believe we just caught that in a podcast. Holy shit. Wow.
And it's just a genuine nice guy, I think. You can clearly see that he's really thinking on the spot and piecing these things together as he, as they come. And this was about Hal Puthoff, and Puthoff is, of course, at the center of many of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was also with Stanford Research Institute doing Stargate, and apparently there's also a different Stargate that was underground from the very start. So the CIA was pulling people from Stargate to the black Stargate that was running in the background. And I recently also saw an interview. I think you were the one who actually sent me that one. I didn't load any clips of that one from Atkinson, I think. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. Skip something.
Oh, Skip, yeah.
Skip Atkinson,
I
right?
sent you,
Yeah, that's from that interview. And then at the end, I think, was it Sean Ryan?
Sean Ryan, yeah.
Sean Ryan then asked him, like, and did it go black after that? And then he said, like, we got 5 programs running. He said, like, we got 5 programs running. And this guy was a recruit. He basically created the original Stargate. He recruited everything. And this guy is, this guy must be high as a kite, because if you hear him talk, it's like, what the hell?
Everybody should go and watch the whole podcast. That one,
I'll link it down
that
below.
is so amazing. Like one of my favorite podcasts from Sean Ryan. Even before that, it was Joe McMoneagle, which was also remote viewing thing. But this one, that was 6 hours. But this one is like, he's so concise in that, and he tell like how that program was started and how it ended. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think actually in that one he also said there was, it was in that one actually that he said there was a black Stargate running in the background of the real Stargate, and the CIA was picking people from the potential, the people with the most potential, like Pat Price, who basically went to, and also on Pat Price, which is, for the people who don't know, if you know at least who Pat Price is, but how he died, he says there's like 4 different stories.
4 different stories. Yeah.
And he's not revealing which one he believes in, but he's sort of hinting to the fact that he actually believes that he's still alive and that they sort of faked his death.
Well, he was alive at that time. I think now probably he's dead. But
now he's dead,
yeah, because he's over 100 years old. But when he was talking about 1980s when that happened. What actually, we should talk about remote viewing right now.
Okay.
Just a small version that what I noticed after listening to all these people, that program was working and everybody believed that was working. There was no reason to cancel that program because it was doing this thing. I think what happened, it was so popular that everybody knows about these guys. So what they did, they cut off the famous guys out, took Pat Price in to start a secret remote viewing program. I think that was the whole thing. What happened? I don't think CIA is
saying from the start.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think CIA is so stupid to cancel that kind of a program. I think
and remember the one that we did on remote viewing, what is it, like months ago, and then you saw this statistic, like all the agencies that use remote viewing, is basically all the agencies are using it, and then some are sort of like using like 100 or hundreds of times, and others a couple of times, and but it was extremely popular, like you said, among the agencies. And,
not in the agencies, because what the issue they were having is they were having funding issues, because they were.
That's what they're saying.
So what they were doing, they were going to Congress. Because they were going to Congress, news, everybody was talking about them. So when CIA knew that this is actually happening and this can work, they started a black budget program.
But Sid, Skip is actually from the CIA. And Skip created the organization.
Yeah, but there are multiple layers. There is like
that's true.
right? And when I am saying CIA, I don't even mean CIA. I mean a black program, one
Yeah,
of
deep
those
state. Yeah.
agencies which we don't know about, right? One of them took over the mental, and they hired Pat Price to do the whole black remote
And
viewing.
I think one of the things that Elon is doing is he's sort of trying to expose this area because it's probably his biggest worry because they're the most powerful. They're basically the deep state. Now the deep state doesn't like Trump, and clearly they don't like Elon either, right? So and they're extremely powerful, right? If they
Yeah,
exist and they have these kind of technologies. So I can totally imagine that if all of this is true, that Elon wants to expose this boil and burst it, and use that opportunity, of course, to do his own things, but also to take out his most powerful opponent.
yeah.
And so that would make a lot of sense. By the way, Skip also in the beginning of that interview, yeah, go watch it. I will link it down below. He also talks a lot about dreams. And
Yeah.
we actually talked about the dreaming last time with the noosphere, and that you maybe can download, and that it's
Yeah.
maybe a different type of reality. But he really sort of hinted that that is actually the case, right? That
Yeah.
the dreaming is just a different modality.
Different thing, yeah. Different like universe. Basically, you're getting this is like my belief as well, that what we see in the dream is not our brain is creating, is something we're viewing something from a different universe.
Oh, I think my computer is
No, I
shutting
can
down.
it's working fine. I can still see you, hear you.
Okay. Well, that is good because I can't see myself.
Okay. Put the charging on if it's a laptop.
Yeah, it might be my screen actually. That would be not so good.
Maybe play a video or something while you're out.
Yeah, but the problem is I can't see what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
So,
See, I'm
no,
sorry.
it is on. Okay. Okay, this is
Is it back?
this is a problem. I think my screen actually blacked out.
Maybe we can actually end the thing, and we can. It's been an hour, and we can do another show.
Well, that is theoretically possible, but I can't see anything.
No, you can literally, if you turn it off, your computer,
Oh
restart
yeah,
it,
that's true. That's a good point. Okay,
then it
well,
will end it automatically. I hope.
anyway, yeah,
Well,
no,
that should end for
yeah,
sure.
you're right. You're right. So anyway, so we can talk for a little bit longer
Yeah.
about this if you want. I can't show any more clips. I had loaded a lot of clips, but my screen just died.
Mhm.
So is there anything else?
Before we continue, do you use MacBook or is it Windows?
No, it's a Victus that I'm using,
Okay.
and I had this issue before, so I think it just happened again.
Okay.
So,
Because there could be a brightness issue, that your brightness turned off. If you can increase the brightness from the keyboard.
yeah, no, I think it's not working. I'll check it.
Okay, no worries.
No, I think the screen just died again.
Oh, sadly.
Well, anyway, yeah. Now I think we covered a lot of ground. I think okay. I got some clips about archaeology actually, because I also wanted to sort of touch upon the archaeology side of this whole issue.
Well, we can't play it, right?
But we can't play it, so we'll save that one for next time.
So we have to do episode 4, right?
We're gonna do episode 4, and then Johnny Law will also be on the show.
All right.
I think, because he was supposed to be on, but I think something happened.
Okay, while we can't do anything, I want to hear your theory about this whole thing, because I discussed mine in the first episode, and let's hear yours.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think I haven't written it out, so I have to sort of do this from memory. But I think the connection between archaeology, religion, Project Bluebeam, and also what I wanted to say about Project Bluebeam. So I saw an interview with Stephen Greer, and Stephen Greer was asked a question about Project Bluebeam, and then he said, like, I don't know any project by that name, so I cannot confirm or deny it, but I do know it by not by a name, but by something that Werner von Braun said to his wife when he was dying, or something along those lines at the end of his career. And so I don't know the exact situation, but anyway, he sort of revealed that there was this idea that they were entertaining of creating a UFO invasion in order to consolidate power. So Werner von Braun might have been sort of the origin of the idea of Project Bluebeam, if there is such a thing as Project Bluebeam. But regarding Project Bluebeam as is written down in the book, and the connection between religion and UFOs, I think it is interesting because you got people like Diana Pasulka and Daniel Sheehan. And Daniel Sheehan is a famous attorney who did a lot of big cases, but he's also working for the Vatican. And when you sort of dive into the whole Catholicism and UAP story, and everything that Diana Pasulka has revealed, but also sort of the libraries of the Vatican that she's also hinting at, but also the observatory that they have, which is really interesting, but also the fact that I forgot the name of the group, but you got this group, the Hidden College. Yeah, the Hidden College. So the Hidden College is the group which is, I think, basically the Soul Foundation. So the Soul Foundation is, I think, the Hidden College. People like Jacques Vallée, Gary Nolan, Colonel Nell, all these kind of 4-star generals and Nobel laureates and scientists and all these kind of people. That a lot of them was what she was saying. A lot of them are actually.
It's Invisible College.
The Invisible College, yeah.
Yeah.
That a lot of them are actually Catholics, and some of the most renowned within that group are practicing Catholics. And she didn't want to speculate why that is. And she did sort of give a stupid answer, like that they might have remorse for hiding the truth and that they became practicing Catholics. I think that's a nonsense argument.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's this connection there between religion and the UAP history, and there's a lot of evidence also from the past in archaeology. I mean, you and me have been talking about that in multiple shows, that the gods are either alien or connected to aliens, or that our interpretation of them,
gods with a small g.
Yeah, small g. Yeah, so not really God, or but the Nephilim and all, that whole story there, and what has happened in Egypt. And that's why I also got these archaeological clips to sort of highlight all those things. So what if, and I think that whole snowball is now rolling, right? I think you said to me last time, but we're a very small group, and nobody really cares about all this stuff, only us. I think they also said the same thing about COVID, and they said that about Brexit and Trump, and it always, you got this incubation period, right? It takes about 5 to 10 years when something starts very small, and then it sort of starts to gestate, and a lot of people are sort of contemplating the possibility of these things, and there's a lot of momentum behind it. And I think we're at the bursting point that this information is about to burst for, because people like us and so many other people are sort of talking about it, and now Zuckerberg is also turning. I think that's also a clear sign that this information is going to go mainstream. And you said, like, okay, it doesn't really matter what they find. But I think when you sort of look at what they are finding, and what they're now revealing about what's happening in Egypt, but also what the Barabar documentary that I showed, and these new technologies that they can use to measure things, or the temple complex in Indonesia that they or the things that they found in South America, using LiDAR technologies. I mean, basically, the old archaeological paradigm is just crumbling before our eyes, right? And I think it is of course because of social media like X. It is also because of interdisciplinary approaches, especially with exact sciences like physicists and astrophysicists and mathematicians and engineers that are getting involved in archaeology and are starting to measure stuff instead of just talking about it. But also, what else do you have? The technology itself is improving, so it becomes almost impossible to hide this stuff because the technology. And then, of course, there's also a shift in paradigm. People like Rupert Sheldrake and many others, Donald Hoffman, but basically, especially Trump and Elon Musk, they sort of represent this political, social paradigm shift that sort of turns everything upside down and allows this information to go out. That's basically what we also said with Ashton Forbes. So anyway, long story short, I think this approach is about to blow up, and it will reveal that there are, that we might have alien origins or partly alien origins. That our religions are tied to aliens in some ways, or maybe in very strong ways, and that they might be returning to planet Earth in order to take their mantle, and for us to sort of. So then the question is like, what is the real role of humanity? Is it like to bow down to these gods that perhaps created us, and to live in a servitude, like neo-feudalist society with the gods at the top with access to all these powers and us down below? Or do we actually want to rebel against them, and take our own place in the cosmos, right? So I think that's sort of the bargain that we have, and I think Project Bluebeam, when you look at it like that, might have been not that the UAP invasion is actually the returning of the gods. That's how it's tied to religion, and that's also why they do this discovery thing. And that's why I think we also, as a community in the UAP field, have to be very careful about who to trust and what to trust, because we might be feeding a narrative that sort of ties into this, right? That we might be saying like, okay, these gods are the ones that we should listen to. We don't actually know anything about these aliens. They could even be us, right? What Stephen Greer is saying, and others, that might actually be us from this future. So the point is, should we be listening to them when they return, and should we give them anything or not? Like, I think those are very big, important questions that we don't really have the answer to. But I think that's what Project Bluebeam as a PSYOP is about, that we actually bow down to these perhaps false gods, and give up our freedoms for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. No, actually, it's an interesting theory and raising a lot of questions. One thing I will say, there are few answers provided in our religion. For example, Antichrist.
Mm-hmm.
We just think of him like a miraculous thing, but it could be an alien who is coming to deceive us. And what if I take anything from that prophecy is like, do not trust anything from anyone who has godlike power. They're gonna deceive you and they're gonna destroy you. So be very careful. Also, one more thing, we don't need to have an alien origin. There is a possibility back in our history. When I'm talking back, I mean 30,000-40,000 years ago, we had made a contact, and then we got destroyed, and we were kind of enslaved, and then we start worshipping them instead of, like, because people maybe were stupid at that time, or maybe there were some other reasons, and then they left after younger trials, like after the disaster, and now they're coming back again. And religion is specifically warning that there is going to be an antichrist which will be opposite of the Christ. So Christ is like, you can just take it literally, or you can just take it figuratively, where Christ is the symbol of good.
Yeah.
And he is going to be the opposite of it. So we have to be very careful. And one thing is written in every religion, at least in monotheistic religion, all three of them, that Antichrist is going to be a deceiver. He is going to deceive, and he is not Satan. We need to understand Satan and Antichrist are two separate beings.
I agree. I agree with all of that. Only there's one more thing that we should consider if any of this is true. And so I agree with basically almost everything you say. But we also don't really know if these books have been written by or inspired by these beings. Then we don't even know if the texts themselves are portraying the good guys as the good guys and the bad guys as the bad guys. So the texts themselves are problematic in that regard, because we simply don't know.
Yeah, but this is where the faith come in, right? You have to have faith on something. If Jesus, I'm not Christian, but I'm just saying I have faith in Jesus. That's what I'll say. Because you have to pick one side. And when you have absolutely no idea and you have no clue, then you will just go where your heart lies. My heart says Jesus is the light.
Yeah.
And either I'm on this side or I'm on the other side, if that's the case. But what I'm saying, we will see when the information is revealed and we are in the scenario. But at this point, as per my studies, I don't find any problem with Jesus. So if there is an opposite force of Jesus, I will be opposite to that. I will stand with Jesus. That's what I'm just saying.
It's really weird talking to a black screen, but I totally understand what you're saying, and I think it's very important that people trust their intuition and their common sense, and be very careful about who's the deceiver and who's the. I think probably the easiest, or what could be a way to approach it is like which entity, if there is an entity, is promising or stimulating personal growth and development, and actually allowing humanity to take its place next to it, right? So if it allows for us to develop and grow and become its equal, then I think that's a good sign. If it says like, okay, here it stops and now you bow down and grovel, that is, I think, a really bad sign.
No, that's not even, that's just revealing that. So the thing with that is he's going to be a deceiver. So that's not deceiving, that's just total control. I think deceiving is going to be, he will pretend to be the awesome guy, but eventually he's going to be the bad guy. So that's how it's gonna go. It's not going to be that simple that they will come and tell us to bow down. Nobody, humans will never bow down to an oppressor like that, especially if he comes from the sky. Like if he looks like us, like when I say looks like us, I mean it's from earth. So we submit to our leaders. That's a very different thing when you have a different entity. A lot of people will revolt. So that being have to deceive us. But I'm not saying there could be so many other things, right? Maybe that there are the good, and there are the good angels too.
And the other problem is, of course, we talk about good and bad, but what is good, right, in itself, and what is bad, what makes something bad and what makes something good. So they could also be more neutral, right? So
they could be normal, like, so there is also a possibility that they are just like what we are seeing. Not all the sightings, but some of the sightings are just like the people who are coming to witness some big event which is going to happen right now, so they are just watching us. It could be a natural disaster too, because what's happening right now, we could see a big volcano erupting, a super volcano, and could destroy everyone.
And I think one of the things we started sort of with Terence McKenna, and it was like a visionary and basically an oracle, and I think and he's talking to he got his visions from mushrooms and psychedelics and all that kind of stuff. The flower power movement from the 70s, we also touched upon that, right? and how it was smashed down and suppressed, and how it's returning now. What if these beings are actually also, in that sense, organic, or that they might have a really different and strange, that they might be very, like that we might not even comprehend what they really are, and what they are about. But it's interesting that the flower power movement was sort of suppressed, and that the reaction on it was so extreme, and that it's now returning, and sort of these. I was sort of also diving into these different UAP religions. That's actually something that I wanted to talk about, the Ra'el movement, and you had like 10 or 20 different UAP religions, and how they sort of emerged from that period, and how they also were suppressed, sometimes rightly so, but sometimes also the Ra'el documentary is very interesting in how they were approached from outside, and but I think that connection there is kind of interesting, because the flower power was also about the planet, treating each other nicely, no nuclear weapons, etc., etc. So it's basically the complete message from what we're getting from these UAP encounters, or the personal encounters. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll hope. We can hope for the best, but I don't see anything best coming our way. I think it's going to be way darker, but with every darkness, there is always some hope. So I think people will educate, people will be more awakened in the future.
I think this year I did the prediction. I think it will be a mind-bending year. I think it will get really crazy. As a lot of these things will, blow up and come into the fore.
Yeah.
And I think there will also be a huge political backlash against Bitcoin, and you already see it happening. Like all these awful Bitcoin billionaires who are deciding everything, and Trump and Elon and blah blah blah. So I think that the Bitcoin crypto community also has to prepare for
not just Bitcoin. It's gonna start with the meme coins, because meme coins are out of hand right now. They're gonna destroy the crypto world. People need to be very careful with Solana meme coins, especially Solana meme coins. They are insane.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been trading it. I've been losing a lot of money, so I'm like, fuck off. I'm just gonna stay out of it.
Yeah, same here. I also got burned. Actually, some are okay now, but I got burned quite a bit.
I got really burned. Anyway, I think that's a good point to end, and we will
don't get burned.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's hope it all pans out, and let's see if we do another episode on Project Bluebeam next time. I think we sort of now covered everything, or almost everything, but I do want to do another one on archaeology, because there's so much great stuff out there. So that will probably be the next one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, take care. There's no outro.
Okay, yeah, you have to shut it down.
I'm gonna shut down my computer.
Okay.
And fix it. All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.